I'm Matthew Lelliott.
I'm Zach McLeod
and I play for GV Suns. Come down and support the GV Suns.
My club,
your club,
our club.
Visit our Facebook page to find out when we're playing next.
Welcome everyone to McEwen Reserve. Golden Valley Suns taking on Langwarrin. I'm Alex Mitchell. Joining me is Liam Nash, and we are right into the action. Going to be a huge encounter, Liam, as I welcome you in. Take it away.
Yeah, good contest here. It's great to have football back. As we mentioned before, we've got Langwarrin versus Golden Valley Suns after a couple of weeks off due to coronavirus. But here we have Tom Young sprinting down the left for Langwarrin, and that'll be cut out by Sean Pye. So a few changes here for the Suns of note. The absence of Greg Nash due to suspension has the back four reshuffled, with Alice Williamson dropping out to right back. Sean Pye is lining up alongside Liam Kilty, with George dropping back into left back. So they'll have their work cut out for them with the likes of Demir Stojlovic, Tom Youngs, and the big man George Howard up front. What's your prediction for this game here, Alex?
I think it'll be tight. Having a look through the stats, just having a look at Langwarrin as the Suns push forward here. That ball will go dead. Langwarrin has the equal best defence in the league, conceding 15 goals in 13 games. But the Suns got a pretty good defence too, 16 goals in 13 games. You then look at Langwarrin's attack. Well, they've only scored 16 goals in 13 games, which is the equal lowest of the NPL too. So that leads me to believe it should be a tight encounter, maybe a 1-1, a 1-0 either way, something along those lines.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen plenty of Cagey contests the Suns have been involved in this season, and they've actually had a lot more joy on the road. Where they've struggled is here at McEwen Reserve, so a win would really shore up the side's table position, with both Langwarrin and GV Suns being level on 21, 5th and 6th respectively. So,
well, that's it. If you have a look at the Suns records, if you split them versus home and away, as the Suns just try and clean it up at the back here. The ball's not too bad. Flicked on, Shamoon will try and get on the end of it, but home's all headed away. Ball bobbles around. Lelliott was good in there. Done. And across now to Kilty. 2 wins, 5 losses at home this season for the Suns, including 4 straight losses. That's not really good enough for a team that wants to be pushing up the table. But then you look at their away record, 5 wins, 1 loss. Exceptional, at top of the table stuff. So it's really quite clear what the Suns have to do at this point, and that's tidy things up at home.
Absolutely, and you were speaking on their away record, and the last game they actually played was a perfect example of that. 5-1 win over Kingston City. Probably, I believe Craig Carley would agree with me here, saying their best performance of the season, so they'll be looking to back that up here. It has been a long time between drinks, a couple of weeks since both sides have last played, but it looks like, there might be a little bit of rust to be knocked off here in the early encounters.
That's it. Langwarrin just knocking it around on the wing. That's McGeorge. Push wide. Orrit will push forward here. The right back looks inside. Goes to the byline. They battle, and Georgie Murray, I believe it is able to sort of clean things up at the back, although Langwarrin will come again here.
Yeah, just give a quick shout out to the boys back in Langwarrin. I believe they've made a bit of an occasion of getting at the club room at Lawton Park. So they'll be cheering on the boys from a couple of 100 k's away, but that's the ball pushed in towards Tom Youngs. We know what a danger he is inside the box, and he's dispossessed by Alice Williamson. That goes back to Shane Dunn. Go back to Zach McLeod, who takes a couple of touches and launches it towards the direction of Lelliott. That'll be picked up by Slaven Vranisevic, and eventually will end up in the hands of McLeod, but the ref says free kick.
Well, it's quite a dangerous attacking quartet we've got here with Langwarrin. Tom Youngs, as you touched on, we've seen a bit of him as a former Murray United player, a fantastic talent. Slaven Vranisevic, he will be one to watch. Demir Stojlovic, he'll be good too, and George Howard, the former Melbourne Victory talent, who never quite made the grade in the top senior Melbourne Victory side, in the A-League side, but he's always been a very dangerous NPL player, and he's a big boy who's going to take plenty of marking from the Suns' defence, particularly Liam Kilty, who looks to have him at this set piece.
That's right. Langwarrin got plenty of players who've sort of gone up and down in NPL and NPL2, and we know there is a big jump, so they'll look to prove their qualities. The ball's whipped in, looking for, and that's an audacious flick from, I believe, the right back, Orrit.
Yeah, it was a clever ball in from Goulding, and it did find Oro with a bit of space. Couldn't do too much with it other than give it a little flick, as you said. A bit interesting, but it's a shot on target, I suppose.
Here's Kilty. He'll go back to Dunn, who, as we know, likes to drop deep between the centre halves and pick up, play that metronomic role. Suns just struggling to get out of their own half in these opening 5 minutes. Pye's put under pressure by Youngs, and he'll keep the ball in. Doesn't have much support. He'll look to flick it in, and Pye's recovered well. Ball still with Youngs. Drops it in for Vranisevic. And the ball goes to Vani Shamoon, who's really flourished in this number 9 role since converting from the wing so far this season. Is the Suns' leading goal scorer so far with 6 goals in this campaign. Do you think Craig Carley sort of instructed his boys to feed Shamoon all night?
You'd think so. That hold-up play there was really good, able to draw the fouls. The ball's played quickly. Gatcombe, he's been getting on the score sheet a bit too. He finds himself forward. Ball's played in, cut out nicely by McGeorge. And cleaned up very well by Langwarrin. They'll bring it the other way. The ball through. One Stojlovic. The tackle was fantastic. Elliott will now be able to try and take it the other way. Pulls it inside for Dunn. Flicked over the top. Gatcombe. He's almost playing that right wing role today. I think he is. So that's a role he's sort of taken to a bit this season, has he?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he fancies himself as a bit of a bagsman. He loves to wheel out the Cristiano Ronaldo celebration, which raises a few eyebrows, but he's been backing up with a few goals, so no, full credit to Gatcombe. A couple other changes for the Suns I've just noticed. We've got Jamie DeSmit coming back for his first start in quite some time. We know what he's capable of when you give him the ball outside the box. So, yeah, and obviously Gatcombe on the wing. We've got George Murray shifting back into left back, so he'll have his hands full with Stojlovic this afternoon. But yeah, as you mentioned before the game, pretty cagey start, and yeah, it's going to take something to split this contest, I reckon.
That's it, but we've seen in Suns games they can split apart really quickly, and lots of things can happen in not a lot of time. So always keep your eye out for that. This will be Langwarrin. They're going to knock it around at the back with the captain coming all the way back to McLaren. McGeorge. You had a few fun facts about Mr. McGeorge, didn't you? Yeah,
absolutely. Bit of a general there. I think he's occupying the 6th role for Langwarrin tonight. He's an Englishman. Spent some time with Cambridge United in the Football League, but yeah, is now applying his trade down under. Been a bit of a stalwart, Langwarrin, for a few years now, and he'll probably be matched well by Shane Dunn, both similar sort of talents. That is Dunn now, just feeding it forward to Matt Elliott. Here's Kilty. He'll spin it out to George Murray, who's plenty of space ahead of him, but he opts to just knock it back to his custodian. There's McLeod. He's had a pretty outstanding breakout campaign for the Suns this year. I believe he's 18. Probably safe to say the youngest starting keeper in the league. What have you made of his performances, Alex?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. He's been really calm at all times, really quite a commanding presence even as a young player at the heart of that defence. He's done a fantastic job this season, and as the Suns have really tried to build some sort of defensive identity, he's been really key to that. It was probably at the start of the season. You weren't too sure if he was going to be able to really seize that number 1 role, but he's done that. He's done that beautifully, really, and he's become one of the Suns' most reliable players, really. I mean, not too many players have been as consistent as him this season. So, been as you said, a breakout campaign, but he's going to have a bit of work to do tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And it's done. Looking for DeSmit, who hasn't had his foot on the ball for much time so far. There's Williamson, a trademark diag out to Sean Grant. Scotsman back in the starting 11. It's always good to see. Scored a worldie against Kingston when the Suns last played, and referee gets involved. I believe that'll be a drop ball. A couple of frustrated sighs there from the Suns as they look to link up, get a bit of momentum, but Elliott, he'll go back to Dunn.
Yep, Dunn will spray it wide. I think it's going to end up with Williamson, but it was taken away from him. He'll get it back. He'll cut in. The ball in was driven, and it had a bit of pace on it, but there was no one there to meet it. A nice little moment there from Ellis Williamson, but no one there at the back stick. Yeah,
perhaps caught in two minds. It sort of looked more than a shot than a cross. We have seen him have a few audacious attempts from range, and you know, I'm sure we'll see the day when one of them will come off, but it wasn't to be just then. So here is Fraser McLaren getting things started again for Langwarrin. The scores, for those who are just tuning in, are 0-0. About 10 minutes played here at McEwen Reserve.
That's it. McLaren will bomb it long. Neither side really made too much of an impact on the contest so far. I believe that stayed in. I don't think it did in the end. Orrit. He'll look for an option. Went long. Howard flicked it on. The referee tells George Howard to shove the guy. You made it too obvious. So that's some nice feedback from the referee. DeSmit. Nice little tackle from Youngs, but only as far as the Suns. Done. Williamson tries to chip one. Gatcombe did all right. Ball probably got too much on it and all the way through to McLaren.
Yeah, maybe 10 years ago, Adam, but not today. Just evaded the feet of the Englishman on the spin, but McLaren opted long. Here's Vranisevic looking for Howard. He is a big body, and Sean Pye, yeah, as you mentioned before, does have his work cut out for him tonight. Liam Kilty flicks it wide. He'll get it back off George Murray. Good press here from Langwarrin, and they've coughed it up. The Suns. Here's Youngs. Bit of a heavy touch. Still got the ball. Well cut out by Pye. He certainly had to make that challenge. But the Suns are on the break here. Chance for a counter. Well cut out by Rogan McGeorge.
Yeah, Grant was screaming for it. It would have been a very long diagonal ball right over to the left wing, but he maybe had some space if he could have pulled it off. Elliott sort of rides a few tackles there, and the referee does spot a foul. He calls it, and the Suns will take a free kick. So a bit of nearly a costly moment from Zach McLeod, who's just practicing his clearing kicks as we speak. He'll just make sure he puts his boot through the next one and doesn't present a little half chance, because you can't do that to someone like Tom Youngs, who's going to make you pay more often than not.
No, that's right. There's echoes of cup of tea with that slice, but he got away with it there. Now it's the Suns on the attack with George Murray. He rides his challenge. Goes out to Elliott, who won the foul just moments ago. Here's Grant. He's forced to go back. Langwarrin looking like a side who are pretty well drilled BPO without the ball, and forcing the Suns into making that sort of pass, which is really never going to come off.
That's it. They'll try and bring it the other way with some pace now. Orrit demands a run from Stojlovic, who presents. He turns, he's got 3 Suns to beat, and he can't. Elliott will end up coming up with it. Murray. Kilty with the turn. Spills to Elliott. He's been quite industrious early. Flicks it across to Dunn, the skipper. Off the ball, one of the Suns is down. I believe it's Gatcombe, and the referee didn't see it. And now DeSmit. So it's a midfield trio that we probably haven't seen too much of together, of DeSmit, Elliott and Dunn, but they've probably a nice balance there. Yeah.
One thing they've probably lacked is a bit of attacking prowess. It's usually Darcy Paulick in that 10 role. He's missing tonight. So, you know, the likes of Elliott will be looking to get forward. Dunn tends to drop and doesn't really get into that nosebleed territory. So it'll be up to the boys like DeSmit and Elliott to put some pressure on and feed their front 3.
That's it. There was a half chance there from Gatcombe, but he really fluffed his lines. Langwarrin tried to bring it the other way, but Murray able to knock it back to Zachy McLeod. And the Suns will try and bring it the other way now through Pye. And for Gatcombe. All the way back. So as we touched on, a huge encounter in the context of the season. You got Brunswick up top, 27 points. Both these teams, 5th and 6th respectively, the Suns and Langwarrin, on 21 points. So if you can get 3, you're not only closing that gap to Brunswick, but you're putting a 3-point deficit on one of your rivals in that sort of mid-table battle. So I think it's quite an important encounter, and I think both teams too, having not played for a few weeks, a really good chance to sort of reset your season and get on the a winning path tonight.
Absolutely, and considering the fact it's so tight at the top, these games are absolutely crucial moving forward. It's been a bit of a stop-start season, as it has for pretty much every code across the country, and you can't imagine there'll be too many rounds left. I know they've skipped a couple in the most recent Victorian snap lockdown, so yeah, it'll be really just trying to push up into that top 4, create a bit of pressure, but I think the refs received a bit of dissent there from Rogan McGeorge. He's given him a stern word, not sure what he's saying, but says no more.
All I heard was you've been doing it all day, and he gave him the yapping gesture with the hand. So he's just, you've said enough. The referee's not happy. He's an angry man, and what's he going to do here? He's going to give someone a talking to. think it's Pat Keelty, and he's going to get a cease and desist from the referee. Oh, it's their coach, unfortunately. Sorry, that's my apologies to Pat. That's the Langwarrin coach who's been issued a little warning from the referee. So enough's enough, says the ref to the Langwarrin boys. But play will restart here, and Murray, he's got it on the left wing.
Long ball forward, looking for Shamoon, who was the difference maker the last time these two sides met, scoring the decisive goal late away at Lawton Park. He holds up the ball well, as he always does. Just says no thanks to Rogan McGeorge. He's got men around him. He'll go for Matt Lelliott. Here's done. Bit of a drive. Nice little incisive ball there to Shamoon's feet. DeSmit dances around his man. He's got Williamson out wide, and he finds him excellently. This is the territory the Suns wanted, and it's flashed across. But again, for the second time in this first half, a pretty dangerous ball across from Williamson, and no one's there at the back post to meet it.
Yep. So the Suns may be taking their first steps here towards taking a bit of the ascendancy. It's been a not too much flow in the contest, not too many sweeping attacking movements, but it can be like that when teams come here to Shepparton. It's always a tough away day and a tough place to pick up 3 points. Although, if you look at the recent records, you might say it's not that tough a place to pick up 3 points because 4 teams have done it in a row. So it's going to be an interesting one, and we do think it'll be cagey, but I do sense that it could be the sort of contest that might break open a bit in the last half an hour or so. Referee didn't see a handball there with Stojelovic. Grant's ball's not terrible, got over the top. Gatcombe tried to flick it on, but it was cleaned up nicely by Cumming. Only as far as Lelliott. To Smith, what's he got on offer? Well, he sort of got his foot on the ball and was able to play it past, but it was only as far as the goalkeeper, McLaren. And Langwarrin will reset. So is any team taking the ascendancy in your eyes?
Yeah, it's tough to say. Obviously, the Suns have probably won the last 5 minutes or so, but other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot going on. Ball played wide there out to Williamson again, but Langwarrin's press can prove dangerous. That's a great ball into the head of Varney Shamoon, and he just couldn't get enough purchase on it. Really should have travelled Fraser McLaren there. He was about 12 yards out.
If that, it was a golden chance. Couldn't really get any power on it. Just dribbled into the keeper in the end. But gee, if he had got a bit better purchase, perhaps he could have. I sort of thought the net might bulge there, and they're sort of lucky to get away with that one in a sense, Langwarrin. Absolutely,
from where we're sitting, it looked like it was goal bound, but Suns will attack here again. They're favouring this right-hand side. It's Marcus Holmes trying to stand up Jamie DeSmit, and he'll force it out for a corner. But yeah, it looks like the Suns will be attacking down this right-hand side. I think it's safe to say that Adam Gatcombe's had the better of Jeremy Minfar in this opening sort of 15-20. And the Suns have earned a corner out of it. Looks like it's going to be Gatcombe to take. Suns loading the box with the likes of Ellis Williamson, Liam Keelty, the 6-footers.
Yeah, DeSmith's got some size about him too, but certainly those first two are the ones they'll be looking for as the ball does get whipped in. Ended up falling to Dunn. Maybe DeSmith can do something. He's got it in the box, whips one in, cut out nicely by the defender, but it was only as far as Gatcombe. Williamson, does he put his laces through one? He does! And it just beats the far post. It looked like, and it sort of missed everyone. It looked like it might just catch that far post and go in. Seems it's taken a deflection, but a bit of a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. We could see Varney Shamoon trying a bit of a spectacular, sticking a boot out for the flick, but it just didn't quite pay off. Obviously has picked up a touch on the way through off a Langwarrin player, so this will be Sean Grant's first involvement in quite some time. Goes towards the back post. Dunn rises high. It's sort of ping-ponging around there in the box and shouts of handball, but ref says no. Gatcombe. Pressure here from Langwarrin's pretty good, nonetheless. DeSmit first time. It's a pretty handy ball. And Gatcombe, a pretty ugly shank off the left. It was never really going to go in, so Fraser McLaren will be happy to see that one sail over the bar for a goal kick.
Yeah, not the best effort on goal, but I do think that the Suns would be sort of happy with what they've been able to achieve with this first couple of corners. They've certainly posed a couple of questions, never looked too certain, the Langwarrin defenders, so the Suns would fancy their chances of, if they can push that Langwarrin defender deep on the line, maybe they can create something. We'll have to see though. It'll probably take a fair bit of breaking down this defence, as we've touched on, one of the best in the league, if not the best.
Yeah, absolutely. The partnership of Marcus Holmes and James Cumming has proved to be pretty resolute so far in 2021. Haven't had a lot of possession. You see, usually when the Suns have played at home, the ball, they end up chasing. Usually just the opposition tends to set up shop in the half and knock it around between the back four, but Langwarrin haven't actually done that tonight. To be honest, it's been the Suns more in the midfield, just occupying the line share. But here's Minfar on the break, looking for Stojlovic, and it's an ugly touch from Kilty. Here's Stojlovic. Murray across just in time. Nonetheless, the ball's across. Great save. And the Suns, from being on the attack about half a minute ago to nearly conceding, that's the sort of game we're in, I think.
I'm not sure what just happened. The ball sort of just somehow got through to Stojlovic. Looked like the Suns defenders had cleaned it up. Then it was back at his feet. Ended up with George Howard, a reasonably lethal striker who didn't do too much with it. It was probably a pretty tame effort in the end, and one that Zach McLeod, who used his feet, able to make a nice stop, but a big chance. And if Howard had been able to pick out a corner, I think, just a huge chance for a goal.
Yeah, it's almost like the Langwarrin attack didn't really realise how gilt-edged that chance was. In a game such as this, one's all you need to win it, and I feel like they sort of spoilt that one, but the Suns, nonetheless, hoof it forward. Well taken down by Minfar. Here's Holmes. He's got Stojlovic. Sorry, that's Tom Youngs. He switched wings. He's on the run. Murray-He'll shepherd that one out. Tom Young, we know how classy that man is. 16 goals for Murray United back in 2019 and formerly of the Bolton Wanderers. So the Suns will be trying to keep it away from that man's feet.
Absolutely. Orrit knocked it down. Here he is. Just looks calm when the ball's at his feet. McGeorge. Back to Youngs. Wants an option. In the end, that was a poor one, and it's cut out. Gets through. McGeorge. Back to this wing and Orrit. Has a look around. Picks one out. Just puts one in the mix. So it will hit Howard, who got his head to it and couldn't direct it on target or with any sort of power that would trouble the keeper. But a nice cross into the box. Couldn't do too much with it, but on the front foot a bit here, Langwarrin. They've had a good couple of minutes. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm actually quite surprised they haven't opted for the head of Howard more often in this first half. He's a big bugger. And I don't think Shane Dunn's going to be winning too many aerial duels with the big man. So maybe just a thought, but there is Dunn going long. And Minfar absolutely had to make that header. He had Adam Gatcombe absolutely steaming around the back of him. And that's a poor pass from McGeorge. Sean Grant. Shane Dunn. Gatcombe. He's got Williamson on the run, but he just can't pick him out.
Once again, we've forgotten to start the stopwatch for the match. It's probably ticked over about 25 minutes, we reckon, according to Liam's watch. But both sides just starting to lift a bit. It always seems to be the way with Goulburn Valley Suns matches. They take a while to get going, but once they get going, they've got you can't really look away. Howard, he got kicked there and he didn't like it, but the referee didn't see a foul. Keelty, wide to Murray. The press is coming from Youngs. They're going to have to be clinical here. And he puts his boot through it, does McLeod. And that's better than that last clearance. That's much better. Header comes to Lelliot. White and Williamson. So the Suns will try and push here. Williamson has a look around. His pass was charged down, and McGeorge will try and bring it the other way for Langy.
That is McGeorge with a pinpoint pass over to Stojlovic. The touch is just a tad heavy, and Liam Keelty just runs across to mop that one up. That was a good last-ditch tackle from the big man.
Well, you nailed it. The touch was just slightly too heavy because the ball from McGeorge was fantastic, absolutely on the money. And if he did killed that touch and just kept it, in that sort of close control, I think he would have been able to work McLeod there. So unlucky in the end. Keelty able to clean it up. We'll see what the Langwarrin boys can do from the corner. It'll be Vranisevic walking over to take it. And some of their bigger boys in there. We've got Howard we've touched on, and looks like Holmes as well. Should be one to try and pick out.
Yeah, so it'll be Vranisevic to take. Haven't seen a lot of him, but that's a pretty handy ball. Ooh, just well flicked away there from Matt Lelliot. Had to do it, and it'll be another corner. But yeah, Vranisevic, a couple of goals for Langwarrin so far this season, but really hasn't featured at all tonight. Looks like he's occupying that 10 role. Just hasn't been able to find that pocket of space and pick it up from his 6 and 8. So He might look to make more of an impact from these set pieces. The first corner was good. Let's see what he can produce on the second take.
Yep, so this one will be swinging away. Uses that right boot. That's a good ball right into that area. Oh, and somehow it's cleared by Pye. It looked like Orrit had, I think it was Orrit, had just put one in, but somehow cleared away. Suns got away with one there.
That was freakish from Sean Pye. I don't really know how he managed to conjure that, but nonetheless, he's kept his side in the contest. Another ball towards the front post. Oh, Rogan McGeorge was absolutely lining that one up, but Kilty was there first to stick a boot out at it.
Well, they're going to have to work on that set-piece defending there, got the Goulburn Valley boys, because that is just two in a row that has been put into a very, dangerous area where someone can run onto it. We saw Orrit on the first one nearly fashion a goal. Here he is now, whipping one in. Who's he going to fall to? A Goulburn Valley player. I think it was Pye in the end, able to bomb it away. Looked like it might fall to the feet of a Langwarrin player. In the end, it's gone into touch, and Langwarrin will reload.
Stoilovich back to Goulding, who's another man we probably haven't seen enough of tonight. Stoilovich, always a danger. He'll go back to his skipper coming. Swings it across. Holmes will step in and then go for a bit of a drive. Pings out, and Howard leaves that for Orrit. Back to Goulding. Shapes up for a diag, but goes back to Orrit. Just around the corner, but Laliot's there to mop up and shanks that out to touch off the left. Wasn't pretty, but it did the trick.
Yeah, we should have mentioned off the top, no fans here tonight due to the current coronavirus situation. So it's a behind closed doors encounter. So we're glad that we're able to bring the game to the homes of people in the Goulburn Valley and Langwarrin, and I suppose around the world. We've obviously got a few parents, families back home in the UK watching along tonight. Hello to them as always. But no fans here. It's a quite a dull atmosphere as you'd expect, but you can obviously still hear the passion of the players. It doesn't matter if there's no fans; they still want to put their best foot forward and grab the 3 points of their club.
Yeah, you're right. It is a touch stoic here at the moment as DeSmit and McGeorge go at it, but I think we'll hear some noise at 90 minutes, no matter the outcome.
Certainly, they picked up a foul there. DeSmit gave some very interesting attention to coming.
McGeorge.
And McLaren will get things going again by pumping it in the direction of Howard. Just a bit too tall for him.
Bit of miscommunication between the two centre-backs there as Liam Kilty left it. But bit of work to do for DeSmit, which he does with aplomb. Up the line to Sean Grant. This is where he wants the ball, the Scotsman. Go for a bit of a drive. Just a bit of a wasteful pass, but he's found the ball at his feet again. Slings it coast to coast out to Williamson. Again, that pressure from the front three is second to none from Langwarrin, just forcing the Suns fullbacks to slot it back to their centre halves. Oh, neat bit of footwork there from DeSmit. He's held off a couple of markers, and Laliot can ping one in. Good ball too. Good tackle there, and Langwarrin have somehow come out with the ball, and it's 2-on-2 here. Tom Youngs steaming forward. He's got Howard to his right. He might go himself. No. Goes to his big man, and yeah, that's a waste there from Langwarrin. Nonetheless, they've still got the ball. There's Vranisevich. Swings it. Howard nods it across. Oh, and it was angled in the right direction. Just didn't have enough wheat bix on it.
Clever from Howard. He couldn't quite, as you said, get enough power on it, but he sort of a little diving header. He was trying to pick. You can see exactly what he was trying to do. Go across the keeper and pick out that far corner. Flags up here. It's offside on Howard, but a good chance. And also that, as you said, a clear 2-on-2 for Langwarrin. When one of them's Tom Youngs, you'd tip them to create something a bit better than what they did there. So a touch wasteful, but you've sort of touched on a few of these the midfielders for the Suns are clearly winning this midfield battle. The likes of Goulding and McGeorge are getting beaten by DeSmit, Laliot, and Dunn. I always get those two mixed up. But once you do get it into those attacking options for Langwarrin, I think they're clearly the more dangerous side. So it's really going to be an interesting one, because if you give this side too much space on the counter for your Howards, your Youngs, Stoilovich, it seems like the sort of side that he's going to be able to grab a goal.
Yeah, definitely. I was quite surprised there. Youngs, he was on the break and he just didn't seem to want to pin his ears back. I'd say he had the beating of Sean Pye for pace, and he just opted to go to his striker. But yeah, another one for the Suns, an area they've struggled in is scoring goals. Varney Shamoon taking on the lion's share, the brunt. But yeah, Grant and Gatcombe haven't had much possession out on those flanks. Here is Grant. He looked to be positive, but is pressured into going back to his centre half. Here's Kilty, goes all the way back, and if you can't fault anything from Langwarrin tonight, it'd be their press. They've done really well in the Suns' front third. Sorry, in their front third.
That's it. Out and halfway. It'll be Suns' ball as we tick around the half-hour mark. 0-0 for those just tuning in. No huge chances. Probably the best falling to Howard, which forced a regulation save from Zach McLeod. As the long throw looks for DeSmith. Instead, it'll be coming the other way. And that was a nice little touch there. Tries to beat Murray, and he does. A little flick, though, should mean that it's easy money for McLeod, who has to head outside his box, but he's able to pick it up and sling it out to Kilty.
Yeah, touch of class there from Murahi, just glancing it off back to his keeper. But yeah, in terms of chances, I'd have to say the goal line clearance from Sean Pye was a bit of a game-defining moment as it stands. But that's some great pressure from Ranisevic. Here's Youngs. Quick little 1-2 with Goulding, and it's really neatly done there from Langwarrin, but just cut out there by Sean Pye.
Very neat and certainly the right idea, and a nearly fashioned a huge chance. Recycled nicely there by Holmes. I think there's intricate 1-2s. It might be something that the Langwarrin attackers can do to maybe pick apart that defence. So that's a lovely tackle from Lelliot, and he drives forward at pace. He beats one. Wants an option now. Didn't really have anyone. Went for Shamoon. They keep running with Gatcombe. The ball was just too far behind him, and it's cut out nicely by Ora. And now they can bring it the other way. Stoilovic went with the early ball, and that one's a bit wasteful as well. Cut out by Pye. As the game tries to spring to life, in the end, the defenders, well, I guess it was probably the attackers just not quite picking out those pinpoint passes.
No, I liked the pass, the idea there from Stoilovic, looking to swing it across to his other winger, but it just didn't have enough on it, and Sean Pye was able to cut that out quite easily. But yeah, it's sort of gone a bit end-to-end here at McEwen. Neither side really posing too much of a threat. It's just that final ball that's lacking at the moment. We saw before, I'd say Matt Elliott just didn't know what to do with it. He had the ball about 30 yards out and was a bit gun-shy. Just a couple of misplaced passes costing both sides here, but here's Howard. Sorry, Marcus Holmes, Ranisevic. And that's just a nothing ball. Langwarrin can't expect to get anything out of a ball hoofed forward like that.
No, and Stoilovic let him know about it. Wanted it a bit more accurately than that. The press has been fantastic, and it is going to force an error at some point. Kilty. Crunching effort from McGeorge. Orrit. And they're more than willing to go to ground and do a bit of damage, both these sides here. Long ball down the line. Kilty, safety first, went for the touchline.
Langwarrin not lumping everyone forward as of yet. I think both sides would be fairly happy just to go into the changing rooms at halftime as it stands with a stalemate. That looks like a high boot from Sam Orrit, and it will be called by the assistant. Sean Grant just sticking his beak out.
They're a vocal bunch, these Langwarrin players. They do like to let the referees know what they think. Mind you, the Suns players aren't too bad at that either, so the referees going to be copping a fair bit all day, I would imagine.
Yeah, we saw Rogan McGeorge about 2 minutes in, who'd already got on the ref's bad side, but he's kept quiet since. It'll be the man himself, bending around the corner.
That's clever. Oh.
And yeah, just a good piece of positional play from George Howard. Just smart soccer, just ghosting in behind and flicking that one on, but he didn't have either Stoilovic or Youngs running off him. Here's the Suns pushing it out right. Here's Gatcombe. Chopping around, but yeah, that was asking a bit much of Jamie DeSmith. That'll be Holmes. Out to Minfar. Kilty. Dunn, hounded by Vranisevich. Balls with Alice Williamson. Take a touch inside and look down the line, but Minfar, but it's one back by Gatcombe. Just chops it out in there. Not the most elegant few phases from either side. Haven't really been able to string too many passes together, but can't be too long left now in this first half here at McEwen Reserve. I'd say 5 to 10 left. Scores remain 0-0.
Yeah, this is Minfar having a little run. Crunched by Gatcombe. It somehow stays in, and he kept pushing forward. And he's been brought down too, it would look there, but the referee lets it go. Gatcombe twists nicely, tries to pick one out over the top, wanted Shamoon. It'll end up with Holmes, who bombed it into touch, so nothing coming there.
Minfar, bit of a pocket rocket, the left back. He's sort of sprung to life as the contest has gone on. Nice bit of play down the left-hand side. Here's a long throw from Williamson. None of the Suns have really attacked that one, and that's Minfar just sending that one out for a Suns throw-in on the halfway line. Now, if you're either manager, what are you saying to your troops at half-time, Alex?
I think I'm asking for a bit more from everyone, really. You need everyone to lift. The Suns need to find a way to create slightly more. They might be doing it here. Shamoon just sort of fell to him. He's tackled nicely. In the end, it will come the other way. Yeah, the Suns just need to find a way. Is it just to get those wingers involved a bit more? Because they're not really getting too much of the territory battle. As Stojlovic comes forward at pace, wants to beat Pye, and he did. Put in a cross, I think it was. And a few expletives are uttered by the Langwarrin players. What was that in the end? Was that a cross or a shot? Because it wasn't good, whatever it was.
No, it was a shank of the highest order, I believe, and he let us know with a quick fish and chips afterwards. But that's been the story of the night. Great attacking play, and then just lacking the killer ball. Stojlovic just dancing around Sean Pye as if he wasn't there, but then yeah, just misplacing that final ball. But here's the Suns' chance. Gatcombe pushing it wide to DeSmit. Sticks a leg out, and that will be a foul. Craig Carley's not too happy with that one, but I'd say that was a fair call from the referee.
I wonder if the Suns have a forward on the bench that could change the game a bit and give them a bit more energy, because they're just not quite creating enough. I think that Gatcombe and Grant are doing a good job, but they're not really breaking the game open. I'm wondering if there's a bit of X factor on the bench that might fit that bill.
Yeah, well, I'd say neither of Sean Grant and Adam Gatcombe are traditional wingers. They're not the sort of the speedsters, the dribblers that you sort of look to pushing forward. Both classy players in their own respect, but you know, you got the likes of, I believe, Fraser Gostray and Brandon Giaccarini, young, quick, technical players who possibly will look to come on in the second half and make more of an impact in the final third.
Yeah, I think Australia was really good last time. We saw him play in that same role, coming off the bench and just breathing energy into the contest. I think that's exactly the thing he can do tonight. As Grant makes a really good run, and the ball was good too from Lelia. He's one-on-one with Orrit. He wants to cut inside. The ball was read really nicely by McGeorge. The Suns also need to get their press going a bit, because that was a bit easy in the end. Langwarrin, the ball played forward. Kilty was very lucky to get a nice touch of that one. Otherwise, it was coming to the feet of Howard. But they'll bring it the other way through McGeorge, who chips one, wants Youngs, and he'll get Youngs, who'll get the ball. Pulled it back. Stojlovic wants to cut in. Wondering if he's offside. He's not. Youngs chips it for the back stick. No one there. Williamson will be able to bring it the other way. Maybe the Suns can counter here.
Again, another prime example of the final pass letting down for Langwarrin there. Youngs and Stojlovic linking up really well. The two wingers have impressed all afternoon here, but he just had no one at the back post. You'd think it'd be better flashing it across the face along the ground and hoping for maybe a deflection, but nonetheless, the Suns got away with them there.
Well, if I'm the Langwarrin manager at this point, at halftime, I'm probably just asking for that end product. I think they're getting the ball in some of the right areas that a team that does like to win games, 1-0, 2-0, and be quite strong defensively. They're getting the opportunities they need to create a goal, but the end product hasn't been there tonight. A few loose crosses, a few just passes that have just gone to no one and some sort of tame shots. If they can tidy that up, they could easily come away with 3 points tonight.
Absolutely. I don't think either manager would be content with the side's output, sorry, should I say. Hasn't been the worst half of football I've ever seen, but it's just the chances that they've created to the conversion.
Trying to play a bit, but as it is, nothing doing. Gatcombe, Williamson now. Loves those diagonals, and it's really not a bad one. Orrit had to do a job, but only flicked it as far as his man Grant, whose ball wasn't good in the end. Nicely cleaned up by Howard, working in both directions. They're doing the dirty work. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's what you want to see from a manager's perspective. Your striker dropping deep when he hasn't had a lot of the ball, putting in those challenges, looking to dictate play, and that's exactly what Howard did there. He's probably been wanting the ball a bit more off his wingers, especially in the air, being the colossus he is, but he'll be forced to settle to do the dirty work, as you mentioned before. Here's Dunn for the Suns, back to Sean Pye. Goes through the lane to find DeSmit. And again, that Langwarrin press is just really constricting the Suns' options here. Shamoon. It's put into orbit there. Lalliot's chasing, but that's well collected by Fraser McLaren. First half really winding down here at McEwen Reserve. Scores are locked at 0-0. Both sides with plenty of chances, but yeah, as we've mentioned before, the end product is really killing both the Suns and Langwarrin. Maybe one last attack here for the Suns. DeSmit goes wide. It's a handy ball out to Sean Grant. He's good in these one-on-ones, couple of step-overs. Flicks it around the bend, and an outstretched limb of Varney Shamoon just couldn't meet the ball. And that could have spelled a bit of danger there for Fraser McLaren and co.
Yeah, we saw what deflections can do. We saw it last night in the Matildas game, a famous win for the Matildas, and the goal that gave the girls the lead in extra time, the Mary Fowler deflection. That's what can happen if you just give it a hit and it takes a deflection. It can end up with all sorts of things happening. So nearly one there, but what can Langwarrin muster on the stroke of half time? Pulled back by Howard just too much on it for the diminutive man that is Tom Youngs.
Yeah, it was a bit of a role reversal there. It's probably not where you want Tom Youngs. You want him flinging the ball in for the head of Howard, and it was just the opposite. Youngs, he got off the ground, but he couldn't quite meet the ball. Nonetheless, Minfar will throw it into Howard, who still hasn't cut back inside to his usual territory. Here's McGeorge. Out to Goulding. He's got a few acres ahead of him. Opts for a dig, and it's not bad. And he has picked out the stanchion with an absolute cracker. 30-plus yards. That is where the Spiders live.
What a strike. Just an absolute rocket. He will never score a better goal. He hit it flat, caught it absolutely flush, and he's picked out the top bins. What a goal.
As soon as it left his boot, should I say, there was no other destination than the top left corner. That is some goal. I'd say a contender for perhaps the NPL2 goal of the season.
I'm glad they got it on video because that's one he's going to want to watch back. What a strike. From the moment it came off his boot, it just was always going for that top bin, and wow, what a strike. Changes the game just before half-time. Langwarrin 1-0 to the good. Fantastic goal, and geez, there'll be a good feeling in the Langwarrin clubhouse if they're watching along at the moment. They'll be going off after seeing that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing Zach McLeod could do about that one. He outstretches his right arm, just couldn't meet it. That was some strike from Goulding. And as you said, the rooms at Lawton Reserve will be rocking. Bit of a different story in the McEwen Reserve sheds. As we can see, Craig Carley, hands in his pockets. He will have had a different team talk prepared to the one he's probably going to deliver in a few minutes' time. But full credit to Langwarrin. They've put the pressure on and they've got their reward just moments before the half as they lead 1-0 here at McEwen.
Coolest man in the stadium. He hits the goal of the season and he barely celebrates. He just businesslike from him as his teammates piled onto him. What a goal! And I'm glad we're able to broadcast that one. It's a great moment for Langwarrin, and we'll see what can happen in the rest of this contest. It's certainly not over, but the Suns they've been forced to lift now. They're going to have to find 1 or 2 goals to get a result out of this game now. As really good defensive work there from Orrit, and they'll win a goal kick.
Yeah, as you said, Goulding, coolest man in the stadium with not much celebration. And as Mario Balotelli once said famously, does the mailman celebrate when he delivers the post? No is the answer.
That's it. It's a great line. It's good work from the always colourful Balotelli. As we wind down the first half here, referee having a little look at the pocket watch. McLaren goes long. Rising high was Grant. They both demand the ball, and the referee says, "Don't worry about whose ball it is. Let's have a break instead." It's half time here at McEwen Reserve. 1-0 to Langwarrin, and it's a famous goal for Callum Goulding. He'll be quite happy with his work at half time. But Liam, a quick thought before we hit the half time break.
Yeah, it took some stunner from Goulding to split the sides. As it was going, it was pretty hard to split both teams, looking like it was going to go into the break at 0-0. But as you mentioned, an absolute screamer from Goulding to split it. That'll be all from us, and we will rejoin you in the second half.
I'm Matthew Lelliott.
I'm Zach McLeod, and I play for the GV Suns.
Come down and support the GV Suns.
My club,
Your club.
our club.
Visit our Facebook page to find out when we're playing next.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the halftime break, and we're back here at McEwen Reserve for the second half of one intriguing contest now. It's Goulburn Valley Suns taking on Langwarrin, and it is the visitors who are a goal to the good. Thank you to Callum Goulding. We watched the goal back at halftime. It gets better with every watch. Liam Nash, what do you think the messages were at halftime from their respective coaches?
Yeah, we had some inside information, a bit of mail that Craig Carley wasn't too pleased with his troops at the break. He's expecting a lot more, both in work rate and in, I guess, pass accuracy, press, just a lot from his side. And I'd say Langwarrin, bit of a different story. It took something special to split it with an absolute pearl from, I believe, Callum Goulding. So the scores are 1-0 in Langwarrin's favour. We're just about to get restarted here at McEwen Reserve, but it's going to take something special from the Suns to get back into this contest. No changes for either side, I believe, as Sam Orritt goes over the top. But yeah, as it stands, you think this this one might be belonging to Langwarrin, Alex?
Yep, that's it. As they make their first little venture forward, it's going to end up with Howard, and he tried to play it in. Pye cut it out nicely. Murray will be able to clean it up. Goes long. Varney Shamoon held it up nicely there. Really nice bit of work there. The ball ends up, well, it's going to come back the other way now. Vrenasevic, bit quiet, but I think he's got plenty more to come. And that's a fantastic ball over the top to Youngs. The defence was good too from Williamson. And the Suns will look to bring it the other way. Shamoon had a nice little moment there to start the half. Just drifting out there to the right flank, and the ball will end up with him now.
Yeah, Shamoon, very elegant player on the ball, doing well to hold it up. He's having to play a bit more of a physical role in the second half of the season here for the Suns, and he's doing it well. Murray back to Sean Grant, looking to chop one over, but there's just a bit much on that ball. But as we saw before, an absolutely magic ball to find Tom Youngs, and that's been a pretty good contest, Youngs and Williamson all night. I think they're a good match for each other.
Yep, it's a bit of a David and Goliath type meeting. One of them's got quite a bit more size about him, but Youngs has got that pace, technical ability, so it's quite an interesting matchup. As Vranisevic is running to the bench, just to get the shoes done up, I think. So I hope you're all enjoying this game from the comfort and warmth of your own homes. The cold has set in here in Shepparton. It was a beautiful day, but it gets cold pretty quickly, and it's fair to say the jackets and beanies are on for the few people who are in the stadium. As the ball gets back into play, calmly nodded down to Minfar, chipped it down the line, and Pye put it into touch.
We saw in the interim just McGeorge giving a bit of advice to Minfar, which is something you'd expect from a man of his experience. Just been marshalling the midfield for Langwarrin. He's come into the game as the time has ticked by. And there's his opposite, Shane Dunn, just picking out Lelliot. Quick 1-2 with Williamson, and now it's at the feet of Shamoon. He's got a few yards. Dunn. Lelliot tries a sneaky ball towards Shamoon, but that's pretty easy to cut out. Vranisevic just cops one, and Matt Lelliot says no. Shakes the mop. But I think he was well within his rights. Vranisevic looking forward for Stojlovic, but that'll go to the hands of Zach McLeod.
Yep, bit of feedback there. As we said, both sides have a few thoughts they'd like to give the referee, it seems, tonight. Done. Just sort of looking around. They're going to need to find something.
Sean Pye. Into Gatcombe. Kind of far way in from his right wing post. Here's Murray on the surge. Looks inside. That's a handy ball to Shamoon. Nice turn. He just needs to pick out Lelliot. And that is some interjection there from Tom Youngs, running all the way back from left wing to poke the ball away from the waiting Matt Lelliot.
They weren't exactly slow with the ball at the feet there, the Suns, but they needed to be even quicker because the defence was coming the whole time and they were able to clean it up, at least in the form of giving the Suns a corner. Looks like it'll be Gatcombe to take. They did trouble them ever so slightly in the first half from a couple of corners. You just wonder if they could do the same here. Gatcombe chucks one in. Oh, it's a pretty good header, and it's in. It's in. No, a handball. DeSmit had put it in. A header went down into a Goulburn Valley player, and they've ruled the goal out for a handball. They're yelling at the some very interesting words to the assistant referee, but nothing will come of it. It's no goal. It's quite the moment. Some of the feedback there was very interesting, but what really matters is that it's not a goal.
Yeah, it was ecstasy to agony in about a split second there for everyone involved at the Suns. You could just see the heads go down and the arms go up. Two of those belong to Alice Williamson, who was giving the young assistant a fair few sharp words. But as you said, that doesn't matter now. The scores remain 1-0 in Langwarrin's favour.
Well, they've once again troubled them from that corner. The header was probably on target and it was pretty good. It's clearly just gone into a Goulburn Valley player and into their arm on their hand, and it ended up spilling to Jamie DeSmit, who just lashed it home from close range. Never going to miss from there, but quickly ruled out. And the Langwarrin players did seem very confident. I know you're always going to appeal in that situation, but they did seem immediately to spot the handball, and the referee didn't have any hesitation either. So you've probably got to back the referee in on this one.
Absolutely, but you would say that would have changed the landscape of this game quite severely. It's 1 goal is all it takes, but as the ball did hit the back of the net and it was subsequently called for handball, you could see the Langwarrin boys just shouting at each other, come on, switch on, which is exactly what they need to do. They can't afford a lapse like that inside the 6-yard box, because you're always going to concede if you give someone the calibre of Jamie DeSmit the ball in that area. Here's the Suns, still attacking. Min far, possibly impeded late, but audacious ball out, looking at Sean Grant, well cut out by Sam Orritt.
Yep, so they, as you said, a real moment for Langwarrin to switch on, and it's almost good in a way. You're seeing it going to the back of the net, and you felt that despair of conceding a goal, and it doesn't count. So it's really a moment that they're going to have to use to organise themselves defensively, particularly from those set pieces. But they have looked reasonably compact other than that. They have looked organised all night and haven't given away a lot of chances. Here's Youngs on the break. Always dangerous here. The tackle, and they don't like it. It's a booking for Elliott, who just screams at the ref, no, no, no. In what were quite amusing scenes. It did seem like a pretty good tackle, but straight away the referee blew, and he had the situation under control. Please break down what we just saw from Matt Elliott.
It's some scene, as you said. It's you see two sides of the story. Obviously, he got the ball cleanly, but he was off his feet. It was from behind, and he did collect his man in the process. So from a referee's perspective, you sort of do have to give that as a foul. But that certainly doesn't stop Matt Elliott from letting him know. No, 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 as he did say.
How much remonstrating do you have to do to get a second yellow in that spot? Because he's got to go pretty close there by getting right in the referee's face and screaming at him.
Pretty close to the sun there was Elliott.
Well, as it is, it'll end up with a free kick, and the men over the ball are Youngs and Vranisevic. And it looks maybe like they're going to go to Slaven Vranisevic here. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-man wall. Might even be a 7th and 8th in there, actually. It's quite a detailed wall. What can they do? It's going to be Vranisevic, who just blasted over the top. And the Suns get away with one there. I didn't think it was the worst tackle in the world from Matt Elliott, but the referee probably had to award something. He did kind of smash him a little bit too. So no damage done, and the play will reset.
Yeah, it was out of the Matt Elliott playbook. I've definitely seen worse from the man in the Adidas accelerators. But as you said, no harm done apart from a yellow card. He's ticked up a few this season. I'd say he'd be probably close to double digits, the Suns midfielder, but he'll probably sit out the duration, and it's a poor touch from Goulding, the goal scorer. DeSmit goes for a little dance, and that's a bad tackle. McGeorge really doesn't have a leg to stand on there. That was a slice of cheese if I've ever seen one.
Yep, reasonably professional foul. I think he knew what he was doing. A poor clearance from one of the Langwarrin defenders there, maybe Minfa, and it's just ended up with the Suns, with a couple of Suns boys in dangerous areas. It's quite a way out. It's probably in that sort of 30-yard region. Basically the exact spot that Goulding scored from, but we'll see if it's probably going to be Shamoon can fashion a chance. I think they might be. It looks like they might take this indirect. They've got the big boys up there. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, you'd say it's almost too far out to shoot, but as we saw in the first half, that was not the case. Goulding picking out the top left-hand stanchion from a pretty similar range, if not further out. But Shamoon goes short. Laliot, he's in a good pocket, drives it across, and it's hit the crossbar. Somehow has not gone in. Ellis Williamson has tried a bicycle kick, and all hands are on heads here at McEwen Reserve. We can't quite believe how the ball isn't in the back of the net. What are your thoughts?
Look, for all money like it was in, the net was rippling, but I think it was just because the crossbar was struck with so much force. It was just the effects of that. But wow, how has the ball not ended up in there? It was bobbling around a couple of shots, and somehow the Suns haven't found an equalizer. The signs are good, but they just can't quite find that goal.
Yeah, those sort of chances, obviously frustrating, but you've got to look at it as that they're really building here with the earlier disallowed goal and then just before coming so close. Craig Carley is just yelling at his troops, sort of looking to build on that. And yeah, still plenty of time for the Suns to make a difference.
Yeah, we're just ticking into the, I think, 55th minute, somewhere around that area. As you can probably tell, we forgot to start the stopwatch again. As it's ended up with Stoilovic. But Pye should be able to clear it. He's been pretty solid tonight. The entire Suns' defence has actually been really solid, to be honest, but they have conceded that goal, which, in a sense, ruins all that hard work.
Yeah, it's from a Suns' perspective, it hasn't been the defence where they've been asking. It's been up front. Shamoon has toiled away, as he always does, but he hasn't probably had the support he's needed from his wingers, and that's another poor pass. Young's in a good pocket, and Kilty had to be quick to come across and nip the ball away from his feet.
I'm wondering what Young's thought process was there. I thought he was probably in that right region to have a shot. In the end, sort of, I think it was a pass in the end, but it didn't really have too much to it. The Suns, well, that's trying to bring it the other way, but it's the pass wasn't good enough. In the end, it ends up with McLeod, and the Suns will look to build here through Dunn. The ball was good. Lelliot playing with a bit more life now, the Suns. Shamoon cuts inside, sat down Minfar nicely, tried to beat McGeorge, and he wasn't having any of it. He did a brilliant job there.
Yeah, we could hear from DeSmit, play it, and he had all rights to say that to his winger. Marnie Shamoon probably just doing a little bit too much, and just recalling an earlier moment, blink and you miss it, but Matt Lelliot absolutely skinning his man on the byline. You love to see it. He said plenty of no's tonight, but that was a yes from me.
Yeah, it was a really good set piece, actually. The fact that they were, it sort of, it looked like they were shaping to shoot, but then they had all the big boys up there, and in the end, it was just a clever set piece as the Suns look to be preparing a double change. It's going to be Fraser Gostre and Darcy Pollock, and coming off will be Sean Grant, and it looks like Jamie DeSmit will be coming to the near touchline. So the double change, Craig Carley's seen enough. He needs something to change, and two boys coming into the contest that can impact it.
Yeah, you had to say it was needed if the Suns are going to claw their way back into what these two provide. Darcy Pollock, he's a creative midfielder, likes to occupy that 10 role and just get things ticking in. Fraser Gostre, we know all about him. We don't have to say too many words. Deadly in one-on-ones, and he'll jump out on that right wing and look to really hurt Langwarrin. But that's Minfar, who's gone to ground. Not really sure what happened. You might have to fill me in on what just occurred there, Alex.
Oh, he just got crunched as he played a pass, and the referee's just had enough. He's very frustrated with the feedback he's been getting all night now, but in the end, it will be a free kick, and Minfar will probably be the one to take it. think he's okay. I think the Langy boys wanted a yellow card, but nothing doing. And now coming over to take it is Vranisevic. So are they going to hoof one into the area? They are. Probably needs to flick it on here. Ended up at the back stick with Orrit. But the ball goes dead and it'll be a Suns goal kick.
Yeah, it was the big man Marcus Holmes lumbering forward from centre back. Hasn't had a whole lot to do. Him and his captain James Cumming, the two centre halves, which is it's always good from a defender's perspective. They've obviously done their job so far, keeping the Suns scoreless. A couple of hairy moments in there. Suns hitting the crossbar about 5 minutes ago and knocking on the door, but nonetheless, they've got to pull a rabbit out of the hat here if they're wanting to get a point or more. It's a poor touch there from Adam Gatcombe. Vranisevic just screaming for the ball off Tom Youngs, but instead he goes back to Jeremy Minfar. Looks to go positive, but it's a handy little press there from the Suns. There's Holmes.
Yep, and across two are coming. The skipper, who's been very solid. It's been a very tight display from the Langy defensive unit. Apart from just those couple of chances, particularly that last one there, Paulick. So maybe slightly more creative, maybe more attacking central midfielder than DeSmit, who we replaced. But this is Youngs. The ball was pretty good for Vranisevic. Pulls it in. Oh, and the touch from Pio was good. He's been fantastic tonight, Pio, with a few important touches. Youngs tried to pull that one through. He had men in the middle like George Howard. Pio's touch was absolutely vital as the Suns knock it around at the back.
There's Shane Dunn. Looking forward. He's found a striker, and that's a great ball out right from Shamoon. Here's Williamson. Digs it across. Mura, he's floating in at the back post, and he wins the header, but again, just lacking that final pass. I'd say the game plan now for the Suns is get the ball to Fraser Gostray, Darcy Paulick, Varney Shamoon, those movers and shakers in the Suns' offensive line. Just give them the ball and see what they can do with it, because time will creep up on them and they eventually will run out of it. So the ball, though, flicked forward. Youngs is bearing down, but McLeod was quick enough, and he'll dispatch it outright to Ellis Williamson.
That's it. Williamson's been busy. You always like the ball at his feet. Has the hands up saying where are the options. It's a fantastic ball that ends up with Shamoon. Back to goal. Tries to turn, plays it through Paulick. Pulls it across. And he's sort of, in the end, he could have shot, he could have crossed. He's sort of done nothing, and he's just flashed the ball across the goal, and it's ended up going dead for a goal kick. He probably could have just either had a genuine ping, or he could have pulled it further back for Gostray, who was drifting at that back stick. That's a wasted chance.
Yeah, if I had $1 for every cross-come shot I've seen in this game, I'd be a very rich man. It's just not good enough in the decision-making in that decisive moment. But we've got another double change coming on here for the Suns. It's going to be James Lelliott and Brandon Giaccarini. And making way is Adam Gatcombe and Matt Lelliott. So another injection of youth. We've got Brandon Giaccarini. He's only about 17, and James Lelliott is fairly young in his own regard. He's probably early 20s.
Oh!
That's a pretty poor challenge there.
Get weeks for that in the AFL. It's a pretty heavy hit. It'll be a free kick. So a complete reshuffle now for the Suns. 4 new faces on the field. That ball was well-intentioned, but too much on it for Williamson. So how are the Suns going to reshuffle here? It looks like Lelliott, that's James Lelliott, will slip into that midfield role with Paulick and Dunn. It'll be Giaccarini playing that right wing role. We've got Shamoon still up front, and Fraser Gostray has slipped into that left wing role. That's how the Suns will try and break down Langwarrin. A big task for the young man Giaccarini, but he needs to inject something. Same with Gostray. What can he inject into this contest?
Well, he's done well there in picking out Williamson. He's got a few men around him, and Rogan McGeorge, he's just been absolutely unstoppable in that midfield, just picking the Suns' passes out with aplomb. Here's James Elliott on a bit of a dart forward. Cause of handball, but Giaccarini on a bit of a drive. and
Right
wins
on,
a corner
Brandon.
for his side. And that's what you want to see. I actually like that from Craig Carley. 4 changes in the space of about 5 minutes, but already it's looking like it's going to pay dividends.
No, there's no point waiting. There's no point, some managers really like to wait till that 70th minute mark to make their substitutions, but there's no need. If the game's getting away from you, you've got to make those changes. Jackarini's ball just didn't have quite enough on it. Lelliot, he thought about the shot from the Golding spot, didn't go with it. Jackarini chips one in. Who's there in the middle? Art cleared it away nicely. And Vranisevich, flicks it on into touch. The Suns have just got a bit more energy about them now, but they've got to harness the momentum and find a few chances and find that goal. Kilty plays it across for Pye. Now Dunn. Shamoon, he's getting more involved, Arnie Shamoon. The flick on that time didn't have enough on it to find Jackarini, but the Suns are building here.
Yeah, just those quick one-touch passes and flicks, cutting through the channel and playing straight into your number 9. Shamoon's proving he can flick it around the bend quite easily. He just needs the runners. And it looks like he's going to get them now with the likes of Gostre, Jackarini, nippy players who look to get in behind the defensive line.
Yep.
So definitely more positive signs from the Suns here as Williamson loads up for a throw. Gets it back off Jackarini. Doesn't really have anyone in the box, but he goes in anyway. And Orrit will stick his shin through that one and will go all the way back out to Pye.
Yep, ticking over the 65-minute mark now. Suns have got 25-odd minutes, bit of stoppage time to you'd imagine to find something. And Langwarrin, well, they're going to now be very dangerous on that counter-attack. That's a pretty good ball. It's a 2-on-1 now. Howard, oh, he just couldn't get there in time to flick it over to Youngs. It was only Pye there at the back. That was a really big chance that didn't come to anything at all, but gee, easily could have done a bit of damage.
Absolutely, yeah. Howard in a really golden pocket there, and his touch absolutely let him down. All he had to do was just get it out of his feet across to Youngs, and that's all she wrote, I believe. But it didn't happen, and the Suns are still in this game. Paulick just hasn't quite been able to carve a sort of impact into this contest as of yet. And looks like we've had a sub that we might have missed there. It looks like Isaiah Joseph has entered the field of play. Oh, that's the goal scorer, Goulding, just giving a bit of afters to Paulick. Shamoon does well. Darcy Paulick dispossessed by Goulding. Here's the new man, Joseph.
Yeah, we did miss a sub. I believe it was Stoilovic who's made way. As they hit him on the counter here, a bit of pace from Howard. Kilty did a fantastic job to get in front. He's given away a corner. He wanted a foul. He thought he was clipped from behind. Oh, sorry, it's a goal kick. It's a goal kick, so no damage done. And the Suns will bring it the other way. That ball has got too much on it from McLeod, who's not happy with himself.
It was, the two big men stretching their levers we saw before, both showing a bit of pace.
Another sub incoming here.
Yes. So I'll let you try and pronounce that one.
I think that's Cheyenne Alinajad. Good luck with that one, Liam.
And he will be entering the field of play for the big man, George Howard. He's put in a pretty admirable shift here tonight. A good sort of hour, 65 minutes of work. Been pretty dangerous. A couple of sloppy touches has probably let him down a little bit, but I'd say he can be pretty content with his efforts. Minfar, he's on the drive. Does well, finds Youngs, but they've lost it there. Good little triangle there from Langwarrin, and that'll be the new man, Alinajad, getting on the ball, getting involved, and sends it towards the front post. McLeod claims that, and they're calling for, I believe, obstruction, but ref says play on.
Yeah, I think it's very much the classic NRL obstruction where the man wants to attack the ball and he gets taken out, but nothing doing to the ref, and I don't think you can give a penalty for that, although he might have had some sort of case. He probably did have his run blocked slightly there. It's all right, Williamson. Just another fantastic, I love watching Williamson's diagonal passes like that. They are fantastic work. Ended up with Amura here now, Dunn. Dunn ends up with it again. Always comfortable with the ball at his feet, just needs to pick someone out. Jackarini dropped in, and the pass was quick, but just not quite to the man he wanted. I think he was looking for James Lelliot. And Kilty now at the back. Pye. He turned nicely there, done. He's got Williamson on the right if he wants him. Ends up using it. Calm with the ball. Lelliot and now Pye.
Just the structure without the ball from Langwarrin is excellent. They're just not giving any free Suns player any time. In saying that, Shamoon's found a little pocket, but yeah, no one's making the run he was looking for. Nonetheless, Dunn's gone across, looking for Muir here. Go up against the new man, Alinajad. Paulick goes to Dunn. Got a few men around him. That's well done. Here's Kilty in an interesting area. Slings one across. It's not a bad ball.
Oh!
What a save to deny George Mirahi from Fraser McLaren. He had to produce something special there, and he absolutely did. That was a surefire goal.
Yep. Lovely cross in coming from, I think it was the new man Gostre. He's just flicked one in with a bit of pace, and in the end, forces a fantastic stop from McLaren. The ball comes in. Oh, it looked like it was destined for the head of Liam Keelty. That's a fantastic take from Fraser McLaren, who's had a good couple of minutes there. He made a fantastic stop and then a great take there to deny the Suns' big man a chance to fire one goalward. The long ball, Young, and that's going to be the game plan for Langwarrin now, you'd think. Sit back, absorb the pressure, and try and counter. That's a clever flick from, well, it wasn't that clever actually, from Isaiah Joseph. It was straight to Zach McLeod. Can the Suns bring it the other way?
Giaccarini under a bit of pressure, and he loses out. Min Far's got Youngs ahead of him. Will he use him? No, he won't. He'll instead go to Alinajad, who really had to do better there. He was one-on-one, and he just, the touch of a baby elephant springs to mind. That was pretty poor.
It was a certain goal if he controlled it nicely, and he just simply didn't. It's a poor touch that's cost them really a very, very likely goal. As it is, they do cling to that 1-0 lead as we tick close to that 70-minute mark. The Suns must continue to press where possible and see if they can find a goal. Can they get some energy from these new men like Paulick and Giaccarini? That one's going to end up with, I think, Murahi, who jogs it out and picks it up. Back to McLeod. They're flirting with danger there. And it's off one of the Langwarrin players.
Yeah, just a bit of a hairy moment again. McLeod just put under severe amounts of pressure from the new man Alinajad, and I believe it was Youngs. Did well to eventually clear it out. And here is Ranisevic swinging it forward for Isaiah Joseph, and no, he is not offside. He'll pick up the ball and have Williamson to contend with. Goes for a little dance, byline, cuts it across, and McLeod had to be alert at his near post to shield that one away for a Langwarrin corner.
Yeah, well handled in the end. I think it was Joseph, was it, who had a nice little run down the left there. They did their jobs defensively, the Suns boys. But now they're going to have to deal with the corner as we hit that 70-minute mark. Quickly running out of time, the Suns to pick up an equaliser or even a winner. Langwarrin, one more goal would surely put the game to bed. Can they find it here? Corner set to come in. Didn't have much on it, and away's the shout. Goulding, he's hit one. Lays it off for his boy, who lashes it. And it's nowhere near the target, so...
Yeah, you think if you're Goulding, you've already hit one. Why not just tee up another? But he was more than happy to pass it off to his mate, McGeorge.
McGeorge, yep.
Who, it didn't probably get all of the ball. Resulted in a fairly hearty shank, but here's Williamson looking to go diagonal again. He can't find Gostre this time, and it'll be Sam Orritt to come away with the ball. He's done well. Good touch out from Ranisevic, but the pass looking for Joseph was not. Suns just need to find a way to get them in forward. They've been trapped in their own half for probably the last 5-10 minutes. And it's balls like that that aren't going to help Williamson. sprays it across to his goalkeeper, McLeod. Here's Kilty. Off to Paulick, who's dropped deep. Goes for a bit of a drive and finds Murahi. He's done well, and Paulick gives him the shoulder, but it will be to no avail as it's the goal scorer Goulding on the charge. He's got men running ahead of him. He picks out Youngs, and that's a poor pass from Youngs. Murahi puts some snow on that one. Craig Carley just screaming at his wingers to push higher, and he's right. Ball laid off. Now he had runners, and he's still got them as Dunn goes out to James Elliott. He's got Minfar on his case. And it's just a little lazy touch that really cost him in the end, James Elliott.
Yep, could come back the other way though. Here's Paulick. Elliott again. Has 2 to beat, and the pressure was a bit too good there. Minfar bombed it long. Paulick should be able to win it. Didn't, but Pye did a good job. He's done. Ball was clever. Gostrey, can he skin a man or two? Wants to. Gets hacked down by Minfar, and he's gonna get a slice of cheese there. Yellow card for Minfar. And another Suns set piece in a very dangerous area. This is exactly the moment they've got to seize and find that goal to make it 1-1.
Absolutely, and smart play, really smart play there from Fraser Gostrey. Just baited his man in, wait for him to make the challenge, and just knocks the ball ahead of him. So that's a foul as clear as day, and it'll be Shamoon right on the edge of the 18. The Suns have thrown pretty much everyone forward, as you'd expect with only about 15 minutes here to play. They trail 1-0. And it'll be Shamoon to take. What can he conjure up? It's a ball across, and that's poor. In a situation like that, with the game on the line, you really need to be doing more than just a mid-level sort of half-hearted cross into the box. They'll get another stab at it though. Here's Williamson loading up for the long throw. And we know he's got one on him. Instead he goes to Dunn. Another lackluster attempt, and now it's Tom Youngs. He's got men ahead of him. One of them is Alinajad.
It's offside.
And he is offside.
Yep, he bombed it long anyways, that McLeod, so the Langwarrin boys will end up with it. They can almost go into time-wasting mode, really. If we have a quick look at the stopwatch, sort of hitting that 75-minute mark now. McLaren went long. Kilty dealt with it. Really nicely controlled there by Vranisevic, who flicked it forward. Plenty of pressure on Youngs, but he did nicely. In the end, he lost it. Can the Suns run at speed here? Shamoon. Ball through. Gostrey. Bit of space. Has he got someone to cut it back to? His touch was poor. Once again, the Suns in that final third, just not clinical enough to break down an organised defence.
You think if you're Gostrey in that situation, why not just have a lash on goal? We know he's got some right foot on him, and the Suns really have barely had a shot on goal all game, let alone the second half. So you think in that position, why not just fire one across the face and see what happens?
Certainly, it was a great chance. He's got that pace. That's what we want to see from him if the Suns are going to change this game, but just couldn't quite find the control he needed in that spot. Big Joseph, beaten out nicely. Giacarini, his touch was good. The pressure came, but Paulick. Ball through, and again, the touch not good enough. Alinajad. Plenty of room. Flicks it across right, or across the other side to Isaiah Joseph, who cuts in. That's a really good bit of defensive work from Liam Kilty. Suns are still on to counter here. They went with the long option. Murray, he's ran nicely for that. Ball flicked up behind him. Played it into the middle for Shamoon. Rise the tackle from McGeorge. Giacarini. And now Paulick. In the end, it'll come back through Alinajad. just weaved his way through the maze there and did beautifully to get the ball across to Tom Youngs.
Yeah, he has impressed since coming on. Cheyenne Alinajad, should I say. Had a really good chance for his touch, just let him down, but ever since, he's been pretty potent, posing a threat to the Suns' backline and doing the dirty work inside his own half. Here's Sam Orritt. He's got a few acres. Goes for a little 1-2 with, I believe that was Slaven Vranisenic, but it just didn't come off.
Well, the Suns just got to keep the spirits up here. They could easily crumble if they can't keep, pushing towards that equalizer. They've had a couple of moments where they might have found it. Just got to keep pushing now. Youngs. Classy as ever. Weaves through two. And then Keelty did a great job to sort of tackle him. Nice turn from Dunn. Wants to bring it the other way, but the ball was poor and Holmes deals with it. Joseph. No rush at all, and that ball's great from Young. Goulding. Pulled it back. Alina Judd shoots. Didn't catch it too badly, but he didn't get it anywhere near the target. As we head closer and closer to the 80-minute mark, and there's not long left for the Goulburn Valley Suns to find an equaliser. Langwarrin, absolutely no rush about their football right now. They are just in control of the contest. Can they hold on?
Yeah, they absolutely are in cruise control here, and you can see the Suns' heads just dropping. A few misplaced passes, but that's a great ball across the face from Vani Shamoon. Brandon Giaccherini was stretching every fibre in his neck to get his head to the ball there, but it was well defended. I believe it was Sam Orritt coming across. And they've won themselves a corner here, the Suns. We've seen what they can do with coming very close on the last occasion, absolutely rattling the bar. And they've gone short. Ball's at the feet of Giaccherini. He goes towards the back stick. He's got a few men, and Langwarrin again just holding firm. Here's Gostray. Dinks one in. Shamoon goes out to Dunn. Doesn't often shoot, does the Irishman, and he hasn't there. And that's just smart play there from Rogan McGeorge, just showing his experience, shielding the ball away from the man, probably about half his age.
That's it, 80 played. And another substitution will be coming here from Langwarrin. And the Suns too. Who's come on there? That's Zach Balaburov. Making way was George Murray, who hasn't played too badly tonight. And there will be another substitution from the from Langwarrin boys. It'll be Wayne Wallace, I believe, who's been a bit of a presence in the NPL over the years. I think we're waiting for that sub, or will we? Will we? No, we will. He's coming on now.
Looks like it's going to be Minfar making way for the big man Wallace. He's making his way over to this right-hand side of McEwen Reserve. Of course, he'll be playing on the left for Langwarrin. He's a big boy, but he won't have a lot to do just now as the ball just finds its way to the hands of Fraser McLaren. He'll go to Isaiah Joseph, who hasn't imparted too much on this contest as of yet, but he'll spray one over the top. Ask a few questions, but Zach McLeod is there to answer them. Williamson. Back to Pye. Still on the ball is Sean Pye. Williamson, will he go diagonal again? No, he looks central this time. Oh, and it's a well-won header from Sam Orritt. Still at an orange player's feet in Fraser Gostray. Just a bit of a nothing ball there from the youngster. Williamson again gets another bite of the cherry. He's pleading for options. No one's presenting, so he's forced to go over the top, which he does. Oh, and it looked like McLaren was just impeded there. He lost sight of the ball, and luckily he had one of his defenders to back him up and clear that one away.
Yeah, he got a bit lucky. It easily could have fallen to a Suns player, just drifting in case it did beat everyone, which it seemingly did there. Probably did get impeded a touch, but the referee didn't call a foul. Running out of time here. Williamson, Lelliot, They just pass it between themselves. Williamson sprays one across. Balaburov. His ball was good for Shamoon, who tried to hold it up. He did really well, rode a few tackles. Done. Further forward than he used to seeing him. Plays Brandon Giaccarini. Fires one across. Forced to Pollock. Oh, and it's on a really good stop from McLaren, who's way out of his box. Pollock can shoot. He chipped one in instead. It fell for Giaccarini. It's all happening, but there's not going to be another shot coming yet. Balaburov, Wallace, he knocked it forward. They'll go again, Williamson. It's all happening here. Wide for Pollock. Plays it across. The moment hasn't necessarily passed, so they just hoof one in here. That's exactly what happens, and the keeper came again. Gee, he's done brilliantly, McLaren. Well, he made that fantastic stop, and he's dealt with it nicely there.
McLaren solid as a rock all night. He's been called into action pretty heavily throughout the night. Made probably 4 or 5 excellent stops to keep his side ahead, and we just saw there a couple of decisive hands put away. They'll have something to deal with here. Calls for handball, but Lino has said no as Williamson continues to hook into the young man. It won't matter because there's only about 5 minutes left here and the Suns desperately need a goal.
Certainly low on time here, the Suns. They had that huge chance. I believe it was Pollock who fired that good shot straight at McLaren, but he still had to do a bit and make a strong stop just above his head, which he did. McLaren goes long. Had Balaburov's name on it. He put some distance into it, but not too much accuracy. Giaccarini climbed high, falls for Orrit, and that ball is long into no one other than Zach McLeod. Pie. It's Pollock. Turn nicely. They've just got to keep surging forward, keep finding those wingers. They have certainly been better since the introduction of Giaccarini and Gostre. Just need to really conjure that one moment to equalise this contest and see if they can stop this losing streak at home, which would continue, which would rise to 5 if this current score would hold. Suns just need to keep pushing here. Shamoon, clearly foul. The ref will play advantage. Williamson. Dunn's ball was pretty good. A really nice turn from Gostre. Touch wasn't great. He rode about 5 different tackles, but couldn't fire a shot. Ali Najad. Lelliot will take the throw. Fires it across to Balaburov. Sort of long ball at this point, but it worked all right. Gostre. Done shot. Blocked nicely. Suns should get it back. Williamson, does he shoot? Sort of tried to and he'll win a corner. So this is where they've been most dangerous all night from the corners. What can the Suns come up with from this one?
We can just see little flashes of the talent that Gostre possesses. Just seems almost unstoppable, dancing around his men. And you'd say if he went down in a few of those instances, the ref may have been obliged to point to the spot, but he stood on his feet, laid the ball back, and there's Williamson just flicking one across. It was the right idea, but he just didn't get his angles right as he sees the ball whistle past the left-hand post. Keelty all the way from centre-back. I think he's been deployed in a more offensive role as time ticks by. There's less than 10 left on the dashboard. It's kitchen sink time here at McEwen Reserve for the Golden Valley Suns. They trail 1-0, and as it stands, they'll be sinking further down the ladder with another home loss, unless they can produce some magic.
That's it. 87 played now. And putting the ball into touch was Langwarrin. Williamson, he'll bring it back in. They've just got to go now. Kilty's essentially playing centre forward at this point. It is certainly a kitchen sink time. Pollock, he's got to flick it across here to his man. Did nicely. Williamson flicks one in. Had some nice bend on it. Didn't work out too well. Pollock tried to turn his way around Youngs. Put it back to Balaburov. Really nice turn. Giacarini pushing forward. Chips one into the area. Does it find a Sun? It is in. It's in. I believe it's Gostre who scored. What a fantastic ball in from Brandon Giacarini, was it? And Gostre finds the back of the net. What a goal, and the Suns have got their equaliser.
What a moment, and that was the two substitutes, the two young wingers linking up sublimely. We saw the initial turn from Giacarini, sent his man to the shops, and then just produced an absolutely wicked cross into the back post. Fraser Gostre giving everything to stretch out and meet it, and somehow the ball ricocheted into the back of the net. So that's really lifted things here at McEwen Reserve.
What
now
happens?
The question is, can they defend it?
88 played. Can the Suns push forward and even find the winner? They're playing with real energy now. The ball from Dunn wasn't great.
Here's
Brandon
Savage.
Savage. Gostre crunched him and got away with it. Shamoon.
And that was great work from Alinajad, just mopping things up. And that's the substitute, Zach Balaburov, coming in from behind. He'll get a booking, which is probably fair, but tension and tempers running high here at McEwen. You see both teams just going at it, desperately in search of a winner.
Well, you wonder if we're about to see how much stoppage time will be added. Probably think there'd be a little bit. Not too many injuries or anything of that nature. They're going to hoof it in now themselves, Langwarrin. It's a not great ball. Williamson dealt with it nicely. McGeorge was there. The Suns just want to counter at this point, and that ball is inaccurate at best from Marcus Holmes. The Suns are playing with energy. Can they harness it and find a winner? Holmes, back to McLaren.
Kilty absolutely bearing down on goal. It's a scary thought for a keeper, but managed to get away. But the Suns still on the ball. It's Giacarini who provided the assist for the Suns' late leveller. But now they have some defensive work to do, the boys in orange. Here's Youngs. Chops it back. And that's a cracking tackle from the Irishman, Shane Dunn.
Well, I understand pushing Kilty up, and making that centre back join the attack and really play centre forward when you're down 1-0 because you've got nothing to lose. But gee, it's 1-1 now, and Kilty's still at centre forward, and they look very vulnerable. And when they've got basically just three defenders, which is what the Suns are rolling with now. So the ball's going to come in. Langwarrin, can they find a winner? It would be. Balling's not bad.
Now James Lelliott, who was he went to ground. It actually ricocheted off him. And what's going on here? There's
well, he's bombed the ball away after a foul, and the Suns think it's time wasting. The Suns are treating this like they're down, and you've got to admire that attitude in the sense they're basically saying, it's a win or it's nothing at all.
We just saw Shane Dunn kicking a ball off the pitch. The ref seemed to think it was fine. Nonetheless, Williamson curves one in. It's well cut out there from Rogan McGeorge. He's been busy all night in the heart of midfield for Langwarrin, but he's still got some work to do. So Shane Dunn goes forward. It's a timely header from Marcus Holmes. And it's really winding down here, McEwen. And just as I said that, the ref opts for his whistle. So the game will finish 1-1. I believe it was Callum Goulding's one to strike cancelled out by a late tap-in at the end there from Fraser Gostre. Alex, what did you make of this contest?
Well, the Suns, it was even later than we thought. Our stopwatch work, once again, not ideal, but Fraser, it must have been an injury time equaliser from Fraser Gostre, drifting in at the back post, sliding one home, a fantastic ball from Giacarini, able to cancel out, as you said, an absolute wonder goal from Callum Goulding. It was one of the moments of the season we've seen here at McEwen Reserve, just a strike that players would dream of. That was in the first half, and the Suns, as late as they could leave it, they did, and then they found their goal. 1-1, probably fair. I think the balance of play very, very hard to separate tonight. Liam, before we do depart, your sort of thoughts on the match?
Yeah, absolutely. I think 1-all is a fair result, and I'd say for the Suns, they'd be treating this as a win. They haven't got 3 points, but in the end, they've stopped the rot. They've stopped that home losing record, and it'll be on to next week.
And that's it. And I think to see there's two young boys combined for that equalising goal, a really special moment for the Suns. You wish it could have been for a winner, as it is. It was an equaliser. It's 1-all, and that's where we will leave you tonight at McEwen Reserve. Goulburn Valley Suns 1, Langwarrin 1. Thank you very much for joining us.
I'm Matthew Elliott.
I'm Zach McLeod, and
And
I
I
play
play
for
GV
GV Suns.
Come down and support the GV Suns.
My club,
Your club.
our club.
Visit our Facebook page to find out when we're playing next.